Hi everyone, my name is Holly Martin and I'm a social studies teacher here at Calico High School. So this is some information about me and my class. So this year I'm teaching American Studies and Psychology, so you can see my contact information there, Holly Martin, hmartin@cacalico.org. So this is my first year at Calico High School. I've done a number of long-term sub-jobs in the last 4 years that I've been teaching, but 2 of them have been actually at Calico Middle School. So I've had some of my psychology students in 8th grade when I was at the middle school. But this is my first year at the high school, and I'm very excited to be here at the high school and to have your student in class this year. So here's a little bit about me. So I have a 1-year-old border collie named Kenya. So she's very cute and she likes to go play at the park. I am the oldest of 6 kids. So you can see a picture of my family there. So my youngest sisters are actually seniors in high school this year. Some of my hobbies are traveling and baking. So you can see there's some pictures of some things that I've baked in the past. So those are some things that I like to do when I am not at school, hang out with my family and my dog, and travel and bake. So some things about my education background. So I graduated from Garden Spot High School in 2013, and then I went to Grove City College where I graduated in 2017 with a bachelor's in history and a certification in social studies education. So I'm teaching psychology this year, and so here's a short description of the class as well as some goals for this class. So psychology is the study of human behavior, so psychologists attempt to explain why people behave, feel, and think the way that they do. So throughout this course, the students will be able to get a broad understanding of the field of psychology, as well as be able to apply some of those principles of psychology that they learn in their own life and their own experiences. This class will also help students to gain a better understanding of themselves and the people around them, so understand their own minds and cognitive processes and why they and the people around them act and behave the way that they do. So here's a number of topics that we will be talking about. So we've already covered the field of psychology, what is psychology, as well as methods, so how do we study psychology. And we looked at the brain and how that affects the rest of the body and our behavior. So we'll also be looking at sensation and perception, motivation and emotions, consciousness, learning and memory, intelligence and creativity, infancy and childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and aging, and how we as humans change throughout those times in our lives, differences in gender, theories of personality, conflict, stress, and coping, mental disorders, treatments and therapies, and socio-cultural influences. So here are my expectations for my classes. So I have 5 main class expectations. So be respectful, be attentive, be responsible, be on time, and be prepared. So be respectful, I always tell the kids, applies to everyone in the classroom as well as everything in the classroom. So that means be respectful to your teachers, to your classmates, be respectful to yourself as well as to the school property, school policies, all of those kinds of things. Another expectation is that students are attentive, so this includes paying attention in class both when they're in person and when they're at home virtually. I know it can be difficult to try to pay attention when the teacher's not sitting directly in front of you and you're just watching a recording or trying to do some independent reading or work, but I told them I'm expecting them to do their best to pay attention to what they're learning at home. As we're all getting used to this hybrid model of school. Be attentive also includes participating in class, both when you're in person and when you're at home virtually. Students are supposed to be responsible for their actions, to follow all school rules, for doing their best, keeping up with their assignments and upcoming assessments and things like that, and for checking in and working from home. They're also supposed to be on time, so coming to class and checking in at home. So checking in at home on time is very, very important. I need to submit my attendance within the first 10 minutes of class, so students need to be very prompt about checking in, doing the attendance activity, or joining the Google Meet once we get started with Google Meets. So that's very important for me to know that they are there, and I can submit my attendance on time. They're also supposed to be prepared for class, so that means bringing anything to class that you need, any required material, make sure your computer is charged and that you've been studying and preparing for the assignments that are due that day. So grading in psychology is based on 3 components. So your final grade is 40% from marking period 1, 40% from marking period 2, and 20% from the final project and exam. So that's 10% for the project, 10% for the exam. Each marking period grade, so that 40% comes from the following. So 75% of their grade is coming from assessments and major assignments. So that includes things like tests, quizzes, projects, writing assignments, any large assignments, large things like that. 20% of the grade is coming from classwork and participation activities, and 5% is from homework. So there's 2 assignments that I wanted to note for psychology. One is the article research / presentation assignment. So there's going to be 1 of those each marking period. So the students already had a chance to sign up for the date that they would like to present the article, so they get to choose an article on a psychology topic that they're interested in, and there is a short paper that they need to write. So they basically have to write a summary and then write their thoughts on the paper, on the article that they read, and submit that to me, and then they're going to share that information with their classmates. So that happens once per marking period, so that's 2 overall. The other assignment is the research project. So at the end of the semester, they'll be doing a research project on a mental disorder. So I will give them more details about that when we get closer to that time. Briefly, I wanted to talk about some my other policies. So late work policy. So all major assignments are due at 11:59 on the day that it's due. You lose about 2% per day that it is late, and I do not accept major assignments after 14 days. So 14 school days after it is due, I no longer will be accepting it. Classwork, I give them a 2-day grace period, so you don't lose any points in the first 2 days. After 2 days, you lose 5% per day, up to 50% off. And I don't accept it after the end of the unit. So the same thing goes for homework. After the end of that unit, I no longer accept homework or classwork from that unit. And homework, it's half credit as soon as it is late. Then we have my resubmission policy. So tests and quizzes can be retaken once each, or if you want to do test corrections instead of doing a retest, that is also available. So you can get some of the points back. With the retest, you can get more points back, but you can also not get any points back. I will take whatever grade is the highest of the 2 tests that you've taken. All major assignments can be revised and resubmitted once at any time. So if you do poorly on a project, and you can then resubmit it a couple of weeks later if you have time to update it to make it better, and you can get some points back that way as well. So what can you as a parent do to help your child in my class? So I think some of the biggest things you can do is encourage your child to participate when they're online and in class. So especially online, I feel like students struggle to want to interact and participate, so encourage them to get involved online, as well as help your students to be able to advocate for themselves. So encourage them to contact me if they have any questions or don't understand something. I would love to help them and answer their question, but they need to ask me before I can answer their question. Remind them to turn in their assignments on time. That's very important. Ask them what they're learning in class and have them teach you. So I think one of the best ways for students to remember what they've learned is to teach it to someone else. So if you ask them what they have been learning in class and have them explain it to you, that helps to cement it in their brain, as well as to make you appear interested in what they're learning and give you something to talk about at dinner. You can also check PowerSchool for missing work and Schoology for any upcoming assignments. And if you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to contact me. Have a great night.